Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector here on a rainy Saturday morning, playing a little bit of In the Hunt on the PlayStation 1. And I wanted to take a quick second just to talk really quickly about technology versus fun factor, because I think some folks think that the more we advance technologically is the more fun video games actually are. And I really don't feel like that's the case, but you all can let me know what you think down in the comments. Now, I'm in the process of currently trying to sell one of my PlayStation 4s. I have two. This one's brand new sealed, but this one I'm actually trying to sell because there's no reason for me to have two PlayStation 4s. But when I think about the PlayStation 4, right, versus like the PlayStation 1, going all the way back to PS1, and I think about the differences in the types of games that we got, I like to try to draw a little bit of a comparison to see, okay, which PlayStation generation was the most fun. And when you start to look at some of the games that we had in that first generation, I mean, you've got some pretty neat titles, right? You've got Silent Hill, where it all started, right? You've got games like Castlevania, Symphony of the Night, right? Another genre-defining game. We've got genre-defining games that came out on the PlayStation 1. And of course, some folks could say, well, it was the PlayStation 1, so of course, if it's the first, it's going to help define or create the genre. But then you also have other games like R-Type Delta, right? Which was a PlayStation 1 exclusive, but a really heavy hitter when you think about shoot-'em-ups all time. Then you also have games like Castlevania, right? Chronicles, and you think about shoot-'em-ups like Ray Crisis and Ray Storm, and then you've got the Mega Man Legends games, obscure games like Brave Fencer Musashi, Ape Escape, which is a really fun game, and then you start to look at other games like Vanguard Bandit, some of the classic RPGs like Alundra and Xenogears. These were all games that kind of help define a genre. And so, if you looked at some of these PlayStation 1 games, you might look at them and say, well, wow, the PlayStation 1 was really where it all started. But then you can't really say that, because then you move on down to, the PlayStation 2 era, and I'm going to move some of these out the way. But when you start to look at some of the games that came out on the PlayStation 2, it's almost like the PS2 took it up a whole nother notch when you think about games like God Hand, and you think about games like Xenosaga 3 or Blood Will Tell, or you start to look at some of the kind of interesting games like Disaster Report, which is really just you trying to escape earthquakes and natural disasters and things like that. And then you start to look at classic beat 'em ups like Urban Reign, or even some genre defining fighters like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which wasn't a PlayStation exclusive, but still the library was so broad and vast that it makes you say, wow, the PlayStation 2 also took it up another notch. And not only did it take it up a notch in terms of the types of games that were available, but it also took it up a notch in terms of the graphics, right? Because there was a very notable difference between PlayStation 1 graphics and PlayStation 2 graphics. But then we move over to the PlayStation 3, right? And now we start to look at another leap in graphic fidelity, I guess. I don't know if that's the right term. You guys let me know down in the comments. But we see another noticeable jump in graphics, right? In details, when it comes to what we're looking at as we play the game. And we also still get some really awesome games when you start to think about games like Splatterhouse, the Transformers games, Alice. You start to look at games like Folklore and Trinity, right? Fist of the North Star, Under Defeat. We've also got, where the God of War games are taken to a whole new level with games like God of War 3, and other games that, just kind of help continue to push, the whole PlayStation brand, help take the PlayStation generation to another level when it comes to, the gameplay experience, the types of games that you're playing, and then also what the graphics look like. And this is me just speaking from the vantage point of a casual gamer, not someone who studies game development studios, not someone who studies graphics hardcore. This is just looking at the face value of these games, of these systems, and of these generations in gaming, right? Then we move over to, a generation like the PlayStation 4 now. So now we're leaving the PlayStation 4, and even though there wasn't much of a difference graphically, right? we start to see this. Well, let me say it this way. The PlayStation 4 was where we started to see a taper off, because there wasn't much of a difference graphically, and then we also didn't get that many genre defining games. Like, we didn't get a ton of games with this generation that really pushed the envelope. We got a lot of remakes, and we got a lot of games that kind of look like 2.0 versions of games that we've already seen before. Now, when you think about a game like Elden Ring is definitely a game that took it to the next level. When you think about PS4 games, or when you think about the Final Fantasy remake, games like that, right? You think about, let me see, what other games? You think about games like the Yakuza series and things like that. These are games that kind of help push things to a whole new level, but a lot of what we saw with this generation was basically remakes. We saw a lot of remakes and things like that, and the PS4 didn't really push it to the max, in my opinion, the way we saw it on the PlayStation 2 generation, or even the PlayStation 1 generation for that matter. And so now here we are with the PlayStation 4 generation and obviously the PlayStation 5 generation, and we're thinking, okay, what's next? What's the next big thing? And I think a lot of folks who have been PlayStation lovers for a long time, I feel like that community is constantly looking for the next big wow game, and we haven't really seen many on the PS5. Probably count on two hands how many games we've seen come out for the PS5 that were really like wow, like, you know, that just really wowed the crowd and had everyone in uproar. The last major PS5 release that I can think of is that game Stellar Blade, which from what I'm hearing is getting pretty decent reviews. If you've played Stellar Blade, if you know about Stellar Blade, if you've beaten it, let me know down in the comments if you think Stellar Blade is like one of those, you know, top tier games for the PS5. But I still haven't purchased the PS5 yet because I haven't really seen the value in it yet. I haven't seen at that enough PlayStation 5 exclusive games to make me say, okay, I need to go get this console so I can go ahead and play these games. And there are consoles that I have purchased just to be able to play certain games. You think to the Neo Geo. I bought a Neo Geo just to be able to play Last Resort. I bought a Sega Saturn just so that I could play Lords of Thunder and Robo Alesti. I bought a Sega Saturn just to be able to play Guardian Heroes and Burning Rangers. Now, granted, I wound up getting other games for these consoles and for these systems, but that's because these were very unique, exclusive, and fun games that I wanted to try out and see how great they were. Same thing with the GameCube. Originally, I only had a few games on the GameCube, but as of recently, thanks to GameStop, I've actually been able to kind of expand my GameCube collection. In no ways am I trying to complete a GameCube set. That's pointless to me. There's just certain games that I really want, games that I feel like I just can't experience on any other platform. Games like Billy Hatcher, right? That's a game that's exclusive to the GameCube, at least for now, until it gets a port to the Switch. Games like Wario World is a game that I definitely wanted to have. Bait and Kados, another one that's exclusive. I don't know if this has gotten a port yet. Star Fox, which was the first game that I ever actually got for my GameCube back in like 2002. Right, so those are the types of games that make me want to have a GameCube. And then of course Smash Bros. Melee, that's definitely a game that, you know, was a timeless classic for me. So you know, it's just interesting to see how these generations are moving and how things are developing when it comes to the PlayStation and even Nintendo and Sega. But today is the last day of the buy two get one free promotion at GameStop. So if you haven't had a chance to take advantage, I highly recommend you jump on it, because we're not going to see another one until probably September-ish or October-ish. And you know, who knows, with the amount of energy and effort that GameStop has been putting into their retro games, we might get a bunch of classics added. But I've been able to actually clean up during this promotion, getting games like Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. I was able to pick up Sonic Riders, Legend of Zelda. What else was I able to get? Def Jam, Fight for New York. So I've been able to actually clean up and get a few pretty awesome titles. Mega Man X2. So the sale isn't over. If you have some time today, it's Saturday, it's a beautiful day. Hopefully it's beautiful where you are. Get out there, try to take advantage, and see what you can find. And I'll be back later on this afternoon with another video. I'm gonna get back on the video train. Want to get back to kind of pumping out content for the viewers, and kind of just stirring up the pot, you know, creating some content for us to talk about and debate down in the comments. Until next time, it's the Y2K Collector. Make it a great day. I'll catch you later on. Take it easy.